Hello, and welcome to the Introduction to and Overview of the Read&Write Google Chrome extension. Read&Write is an assistive technology tool that's available to all ESE students in Henry County schools. My name is Julie Beecham, and I'm one of the assistive technology teachers for the district. I work under the direction of Executive Director Ms. Latrina Coxton and Chief Family and Student Support Officer Dr. April Madden. In Henry County, one of our core beliefs is we believe that family and community involvement is critical to student success. I hope that today's presentation will introduce you to one of the tools that is available to all ESE students in the district. In order to be able to support our students and to be involved, we need the information of what is available. That's the goal of today's session. So what is Read&Write? Read&Write is a Chrome extension that provides personalized support to make documents, meaning Google documents, web pages, anything that we can find on the web, and common file types in Google Drive accessible. So those other types of file, Google Sheets, available for your students. So which students can use the tools? Well, good news, all Henry County students served through the ESE department have a license, meaning any student that is served through an IEP has a license and can use the tools. So it's available to any of our students. But some of the support features in Read&Write may have been selected specifically for a student by their IEP team following an AT assessment. So if a student has had an AT assessment, we may have identified some of the features that we believe may be beneficial to them, and they may have been added to that student's IEP. But teachers may have had a student use the tools to determine if the supports were beneficial. So without that AT assessment, the teacher may have introduced the student to the tool to determine if it's something that was beneficial to them, and then encouraged the student to use it and possibly added it to their IEP. It does not have to be in the IEP for the student to use the feature, however. So you see here the 4 different toolbars that you may see when you're using the Read&Write tool. It depends on which environment you're in, which features you will actually see on the toolbar. You see this top toolbar is the one that you would use if you were on a Google Doc. It has the most features. It's because these features would be things that you would use in that environment. The web toolbar is just a little bit shorter, but you see it has many of the same features. The slides toolbar has fewer features as well. And then the PDF toolbar is a little less than any of the other 3. The PDF toolbar is the toolbar that will populate if you were working in a PDF, meaning a document that's not accessible. It's a picture on the screen. We can use the PDF converter to be able to make that document something that you can interact with, you can highlight on. So to put that in layman's terms, in the school environment, that might typically happen if you have a worksheet. And the worksheet is just a picture on the Chromebook as opposed to something that they can highlight in or they can type in or even use drawing tools. They can't do it because all it is a picture. If you're using the PDF tool, it will convert that document to something that your student could use the read aloud features or the written expression features in order to complete that worksheet. So let's look at some of the features. Let's start with the read aloud tools, and there's several on the toolbar. The first one is text to speech, meaning it's just going to read aloud any text that you have highlighted. So the student would highlight what they wanted to begin reading, and then the feature will read that aloud to them. But it's not just like listening to an audiobook. The words that are being read aloud are highlighted as they're read aloud so the student can actually read along. A second read aloud feature is hover speech. With this feature, it's going to sound the same way when it's reading, but in order to activate it, all the student has to do is click on the icon and then move their cursor. There's no more clicking and there's no typing or highlighting. They just move their cursor to where they want the text to begin reading, and it will read aloud to them and highlight the words as it goes. If it's a document that you're not able to highlight in and hover speech won't work, there's a third reader called Screenshot Reader. If you click on this icon, you're going to get crosshairs, which means it just looks like a little cross, and you click on that to drag a viewing window over the text you want read. And then it's going to convert that text that is inaccessible because we couldn't highlight on it. It's going to convert that text into something that can be read aloud. This feature is used very seldom now because most text on the computer, unless it's a PDF, is accessible. Written expression tools that are available. One of the first ones you'll see on the toolbar is called Check It. And if you highlight a piece of text, it's going to identify any grammatical errors that it sees or like misspelled words. And then you can go back and look at that to make edits as needed. Word prediction is another written expression tool. And much like many people have word prediction on their smartphones, when they are typing in a text, words are populating, trying to guess what word they're typing in. The same thing is available through Read and Write, with the difference of it's not going to automatically change any words for you. You have to choose the word. We tell students when we're teaching them how to use the feature is as you start typing, the program is trying to guess the word that you are typing. And as it guesses and shows up in a drop-down box, you just click on the word that you want to choose and it populates in your piece of text. Talk and type is another feature for written expression, and some may call this speech to text, just like you may turn on your smartphone and speak in a text. You can speak in text on the Chromebook using this feature. We have students that may use this for actually speaking out a whole paragraph, and then we have students that just turn it on to maybe spell that one word that they're not able to spell, and then turn it off and keep typing. One thing to remember when using the speech to text is you still have to put in your punctuation or either speak it in or go back and edit to put it in. There are several vocabulary tools available on the toolbar. There are two different types of dictionaries. The first one, if you highlight a word from a document or a Google Slides presentation or on a website and then click up on the dictionary, it's going to give you the definition on your screen, but you can also click and have that read aloud to you. There's a picture dictionary available so that if you're a visual learner and you need a visual representation of a word, if there is one available, then when you highlight the word and click on the picture dictionary, you're going to get a picture representation of that word. You can also create a vocabulary list using one of the features on the toolbar. It's the vocabulary list builder. You can highlight words from a Google Doc or a website or a slides presentation and build a vocabulary list. It will create, after you've highlighted the words, then you click on this vocabulary builder and it's going to create a separate Google document. And that Google document will have definitions, and if there's an image available, it will show up there. And then there's a column that the student could use for any number of reasons, to write a sentence with the word, or just take notes about that word, or maybe find a real life image of that word. But that column can be edited and used for whatever purpose would be beneficial for the activity. There are note-taking tools available on the toolbar, highlighters that you can use to highlight text that you want to pull to a separate document, the same as just sitting and writing notes from that document, but it will create a Google document for you. So you highlight the text that you want to save, and then when you click on the other feature, the collect highlights, it creates a new Google document with any of the information that has been highlighted. Some additional tools. One that I really love is a web search tool. You can highlight a word, click on this web search tool, and it's like having a separate search engine. It's going to then do a web search and give you all of the sites that you can go to to gain additional information about that word or topic. One thing that the company tells us is that they take out a lot of the commercial sites. It's going to eliminate those, and it pulls up the most academic sites first. Voice notes is a feature where you can activate this feature and then put a voice note. So it's going to show you this little icon, but it's going to be your voice that someone hears when they click on that. So maybe a student wants to put a note beside a problem or a question that they need help with. They could activate this feature, create a voice note that says, Miss So-and-so, I need help with this. I'm confused. Or how do you like this sentence? Whatever voice note they might want to leave for the teacher that they're turning the activity into. Teachers can also leave voice notes as feedback for students on activities that they have turned in using this feature. The Simplify tool is one that allows a student to simplify what they are seeing on their Chromebook screen. If it's a website, then it may take out all the pictures that are showing on the screen, and you can just simplify how much text is being displayed to be read. We can't control what it's taking out, but it does simplify it. So for students who may be overwhelmed with how much text has to be read, or you just want to get to the meat of the document, you can simplify using this tool. It removes clutter from web pages and places the simplified text into a new tab. Using this tool, you can also change the contrast. And so instead of black type on a white page, a white background, it could be a black background with white text. A couple of additional tools, the audio maker. You can convert selected text on your computer into an audio file. It is automatically downloaded and saved on the Chromebook, and then the student can listen to that later without need of internet. And so if they have material that they needed to review but are going to be somewhere they won't have internet access to be able to review or listen to the material, then they could make an audio file of it and listen to it without internet access. Screen masking is a feature that tints part of the screen and provides a reading light that will just follow as you move your mouse. And so some of the screen would be faded out or covered, and you would just see a portion of the screen. This can be beneficial to students that maybe are easily distracted and don't want to see a lot of information at one time. They could reduce the amount of information they're seeing, and then they just scroll down and it illuminates different parts of the screen. Practice reading aloud is a feature that would allow students to read text aloud and then go back and listen to themselves reading, or they can then turn that into their teacher for their teacher to listen and give feedback. There's a translator tool that you can highlight single words and translate those words into up to 90 different languages. This tool, we believe, can be beneficial to some of our students that English is not their first language, and maybe some of those academic words, they want to see what that word might be in their native language, they could use the translator. The PDF tool that is available through the company that produces Read and Write is called Orbit Note. It is a separate extension that has to be installed on the computer, and it can be installed from the Chrome Web Store. But this is the tool that allows you to use the features that we've just reviewed on a PDF. And if you're not familiar with what a PDF is, in layman's terms, it's just going to be a document that you have opened or pulled up on your computer that is not accessible. It's just a picture on a screen. An example might be a worksheet that a teacher has uploaded to a Google Classroom. You may not be able to highlight on that. You may not be able to type text on it or interact with it, annotate it in any way. If you use the Orbit Note, it's going to convert that PDF into something that you can write on, or you can use the Read Aloud tools on. So how do you gain access to Read&Write or OrbitNote? Read&Write is already on the Henry County Schools Launchpad and can just be added directly from there to a student's Chrome account. For OrbitNote, or if you want to load Read&Write on a home computer or something other than a student's Chromebook, you can go to the Chrome Web Store and follow these directions to add that extension. It's perfectly fine to add it on another device that a student may use at home, but anytime they are signed on to their Henry County, through their Henry County address in Google Chrome, they can have access. If they're not in their Henry County Chrome account, they would not have access. If you have any questions or want any help with either of these products, the Read&Write extension or the OrbitNote extension, you can contact me at the email address shown, or my co-worker, Rebecca Benefield, who is the other assistive technology teacher for the district, at this email address. Feel free to give us a call at this phone number. We are here to help. Thank you.